I think it is definitely celibacy is a gift, man. I mean, look at the physiological data. Our bodies were made to reproduce. Mm-hmm. And if you deny that, that ain't natural. Mm-mm. It ain't natural. Brian, your eyebrows are
Okay, I'm gonna say why, because I've been sitting over here six years, and I put it out there. I'm 6 years celibate.
It's a gift.
And I'm like, and you said it ain't natural. I'm like, is there something wrong with me? Like,
no. It's a gift. No, it's a gift from God. I mean, that right there supports. It's a gift from God, man.
You know what though? I would like a gift like here's a gift, or a gift like, man, that's special.
Both.
You know, because I'm like, really for me, if I look at it, you know, really look at this journey, and I always put this stuff out there because I'm glad that I've been able to wait this long. I'm going on 7 years of celibacy, but really, I would say yes, it has been a gift, but more than that, it's been self-control and it's been discipline, and it's been it's been the fruits of the Holy Spirit, because there has been times and there has been seasons where I'm like, I'm just ready to lock something down and get it done. So more than that, I'm just like, for me, if I could encourage anyone that's like listening, that and I always say who wants to even think about it, man, it's discipline. It really is. It's saying if I go off and do this right now, am I just trying to do this for the moment? You know what I'm saying? And this is outside of marriage. Am I just doing this for the moment and satisfying the moment? And then, you know, tomorrow I'm be beating myself up. Or flip that. My own dad said, don't you get married just for the cooter. Mm-hmm. Like, don't just get married just to have sex, because once you do that, yeah, you know, then you might wake up the next morning like, what did I just do? Mm-hmm. You know, so I'm just saying, for me, it's just been discipline.
Yeah. Oh wow. And when I guess when we say gift, not necessarily a spiritual gift, I would say,
right.
But the discipline of that, you know, it can't do anything but build you. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. You know, I mean, with my wife, when we were engaged, we were in school, and it was 4 years, man. I felt like Mama Clump, you know, 4 long years. I mean, especially coming from a lifestyle of promiscuity, you know, where, you know, once you tasted it, you open that door, you know, to then say no, man, that's harder than Chinese checkers. Yeah, you know, but I saw the benefit, and that's what I said, the discipline, and it's a gift in that it's special. You recognize that what you have to give is special.
Absolutely.
You know, and you don't want to pervert that. You don't want to damage that. You know, I started thinking like this: if I sleep with somebody who's not my wife, then I'm just ahead of the curve in adultery. That's where I looked at it, because I'm sleeping with somebody else's wife. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying that I'm not giving that to anybody else. That's how I saw it. If she's not my wife, and I know she's not my wife, then to sleep with her means I'm potentially sleeping with somebody else's wife.
That's good.
And I'm like,
well, what if she's going to be single for the rest of her life?
Well, I didn't know that. See, there you go. But, you know,
right.
It's a gift. It is a gift. Mm-hmm. And when Paul writes, he's writing to those who are still growing, who are struggling. That's what the letters to those churches were. He was addressing issues and problems that were right there in that community. Mm-hmm. And so he's not saying everybody need to get married. He said you need to get married. It's better for you to marry than to burn with lust and do other things.
Yeah. I think if I look at, you know, what Paul was saying, I think he did great at addressing both ends of the spectrum. So he did address those who wanted to be married, but then he did say, if you want to be single, it's better to stay single, so you can be single-minded, so that you can tend to the things of the Lord and be more ministry minded. So I think that he was able to cater to both sides of it.
Looking at the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. Here's one thing I got a few more minutes, but I want to talk about this real quick because in the relationship too, and I think that here's something that goes back to commitment. I think that what we have to do is that we need to, what we need to do is understand our role, and I think that in the family or in society, not just the family, but in our society, in our neighborhood, everyone has a role to play. I'm talking about men.
Yeah.
Men, husbands, fathers, we have a role to play, and that role is important. And I think this is what's happened. Our society has paid attention to the lack of a father.
Wow.
Okay, we see that. But the men who are there, our jobs is to be the man. But what is our role? What is a man's role? What is that man's role? What do you see that this should be a man's role? What is that? What is that?
Man's role in society, the family, all of it.
All of it. Like, what do you think? Like straight up. Like, what do you think? When we look at our communities, and I'm gonna be very specific on this one. The black community, the role should be
example.
That.
The example of stability, the example of continuity, the example of getting up when you get knocked down, the example of you fall 7 times, getting up 8. For the man, we take our cues from the men, in our girls and boys, because God placed that role on the man. That's what he did. I mean, he placed that role on Adam. He placed it on Adam, and every man that has come since Adam has that responsibility. Now, do they take it? Often not. But that doesn't mean if you don't take it as a man, then you created a void in that area. And so what's happened, this is my opinion, what's happened is we've done, those who've been left without that example have been forced to find it in other ways. Been forced to find it in other ways. But the man, particularly the black man, I think I say this right here, and I'm not, I love all people, but I do understand where I'm at, and I'm a Christian who's in a pigmented body, I'm a Christian first, but I'm a black man, and I believe that we are so powerful as men, as a people. And the enemy hates that. And when I say enemy, I'm not talking about another race. I'm talking about the devil. I'm talking about the devil. The devil hates that because if we stand up in our power, as all men, this goes to every. If we stand up in our power, then we diminish the enemy's role. But as soon as we give in to the attacks, give in to the pressures, give in to the things of life, then we give up our power. You know what I mean? And the enemy has done a good job at putting his foot on the neck of our black men, in particular, and of all men. I mean, I look at our shows, man. Look at our shows. My kids they're watching, Disney Channel, Nickelodeon, and these shows, and every father is a fool. Look at the shows. There's no strong father figure on our shows. Look at that. Just take the time and look at that. The daddy is acting dumb, is acting clueless, all this kind of stuff. That's sending a message, man. That's sending a message. And I had to stop it sometimes. I say, listen, do you see me acting like that? Do you see me acting like that? Don't think that that's the way it is.
No, that's good.
And because my daughter, Sydney, She says she repeated what one of the girls said on the show to me. She said the same thing to her dad. I said, "Girl, I'm not an actor." They said cut when that scene was done. I said, "Girl, you come at me like that, I'm gonna cut you." You know what I mean? That ain't. I mean, but we're our society is fostering a weak manhood. We that's why, you know, you guys are so special in my life because you allowed me to pour into y'all. Mm-hmm. You let me pour in. And I know I said stuff y'all ain't like. Mm-hmm. I said stuff you ain't like. I know Mark, one time Mark got mad. I know he got mad. He showed he ain't got no poker face. He got mad. I know he got mad. I know he was mad. But you know what? I saw beyond the boy that he was to the man that he was going to become. And but here's the thing: you allowed me to do that. You know, there are so many people who and my boast is in the Lord. Who thank you for doing this. I say thank you for allowing me, because if I'm pouring and ain't nobody catching,
just splashing,
And so I think we need as and I'm talking a lot right now.
That's cool.
You guys do the best you can at nurturing the next generation on your level. Do the best you can on the level that you're on, but be strategic in it, because there are kids out there who don't have that example. And whether we know it or not, they may be looking at us out the corner of their eye, but they looking at us. They looking at us. I'm in the school system, and my black boys, they gravitate to me. I mean, like a magnet, because I'm probably the only black male that they've seen in a long time that ain't cussing, that ain't spitting, that ain't hitting them, that ain't doing something that ain't supposed to be doing. And they gravitate to that, man. I told this kindergartner, and the parent, he's heavy-handed, he's a big guy, and so he doesn't know his own strength yet. And so I put him to the side and I whispered in his ear, and I said, "You're a king." And he looked at me and his eyes got that big. I said, "You're a king." I said that. So that means you need to carry yourself as a king. You're a king. And he just stopped and just looked at me, and it was like those words was like sinking in, like you could see it. I said, "You're a king." I said, Do kings hit little girls?" He shook his head, no. I said, "So are you gonna hit girls?" He said, "No." I said, Do kings throw things around the classroom?" He says, "No." But and every time I see him now, "What's up, King? What's up, King?" That's gonna do something for that boy.
You're gonna remember that.
Yes.
That's the seeds right there. It's gotta grow.
Man.
That's powerful.
Man.
And that's what I'm talking about. We have a role to play. Everyone should play their role. Not just men, because there's a role. I know Angie's listening, and a few other people probably listen too. I don't think it's just men, but a woman has a role, a child has their role, and really the men, I believe, foundation. Yeah. The women have a strong support, and they help frame and shape that person's life. And listen, we have to be those people.
Wow.
So we're going to have to do some things that are going to definitely make sure we're playing our role right, especially in this new season. This 2017, we got to be present.
Yes, sir.
We don't need to be talking about it. We got to be present. Just like we're present. Like you're present as a young man. We have to be present. It's not a question about that. It's not should I be? I don't know. No, I'm like either you're gonna step up to the plate. I don't talk about it no more. Daniel chapter 11 verse 2, it says, "Those who know their God shall be strong and do exploits."
Exploits, yes, sir.
And so the thing is that when you know God, this is the product of there should be some fruit that we see it. We're not talking about knowing God. This is when I show up, you're gonna see that I'm strong and I do my exploits.
Yes,
why?
Sir.
Because I know God.
I know God.
So it's time out for people. I hope that makes sense. But it's time out for people talking about them knowing God, and it's time for people to really, for us to see it.
Yeah.
No, don't talk. You're gonna be it.
Yes, sir.
You know what I'm saying? And the fruit will show. The fruit is going to